The Democratic Party exists for the American people.
The United Democratic Party is our greatest strength.
We have the right policy to stand on the side of justice.
This is a moment for activism.
You're never too young to stand up.
We can change the world.
We need you
That's
to be
right.
involved.
That's it. Get out there and fight.
Hey, here we go. It's good to be on Democrats Live. Welcome to Democrats Live. As you can see, we have a very alive studio audience today. Let's hear it from you guys. A little spirit. And a little school spirit is what we need, because we're talking to the college Democrats today and the president, Joseline Mata. Welcome, Joseline. Just give it up for Joseline, everybody.
Thank you.
So tell me, what does it mean to be a college Democrat today?
Well, to be a college Democrat today means to be engaged on your campus and trying to talk to your peers on campus and make sure that they realize the importance of their vote and the power that they have. That's something that's not really being done, but we are, as college Democrats, are working hard, and if it means tabling every week on the mall, or if it means showing up to protests and engaging with people that might not have the same opinions, that's what we're doing on campuses today.
Well, that is awesome. You know, my name, I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Keith Ellison. I'm Deputy Chair of the Democratic National Committee, and I'm so proud of our college Democrats, our high school Democrats, our young Democrats. Young people all over this country are making big changes. The Parkland kids, but also a lot of young people working on DACA issues, Black Lives Matter. What is going on with young people today? They're not having this Trump stuff. What's happening?
Yeah, the young people today, we are starting to realize the power of our voice and our story. And so we're making sure that we're engaging and trying to make change the way that we've been taught by several other social justice heroes that we've had in the past.
Well, you know, it's funny. We're going to have a segment in a few minutes from now, so stay tuned. You're going to like this, called Good Trouble. And one of the people who came up with, well, the person who came up with that phrase is John Lewis. And when he came up with that phrase, he wasn't, a 70-year-old congressman. He was a young person,
yes,
just like you guys. What does the term good trouble even mean to you? I mean, do you have any thoughts about what that could mean?
Yeah, when I think of good trouble, I really think about our DACA students who are fighting for access to education. Just this last week in Arizona, the court ruled that they could no longer have in-state tuition, which looking at that difference that it makes, and it just bars students from being able to access their education. And DACA students are American, and that's a lot of what I'm thinking about now when I think about what good trouble means. I look to the DACA movement and the great work that they're doing.
Yeah. Do you know any DACA kids yourself?
I do. I actually do know Belen Sisa, who has made a lot of waves across our community, so hopefully she's watching.
Shout out.
She's out from Arizona State University and has been doing amazing work. She was one of the people that called out Donald Trump for his taxes. And she showed that she herself, being a DACA student, was still paying her taxes and challenged him to show his own.
Yeah, he didn't want to show that. No. He's kind of funny with showing stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, it has occurred to me, Joseline, I wonder if you felt this way, that Trump is really more of a symptom, right? He's like the culmination of something. It's not like we were all good and then we get Trump. I mean, first we got income inequality. We won't pass, a comprehensive immigration reform bill, going on for years. We have minimum wage stagnating. We have, look, the Me Too movement didn't start the fight for women's equality and respect on the job and in society. It signaled it when it got to a point where people just said, hey, I'm being oppressed or I'm being abused here. And so the movement started. There were all these underlying issues going on before. Are any of those things propelling you forward in terms of your own activism?
Yes. So for me, my activism comes from the fact that my mother is undocumented. She was deported when I was 7. So the work that I do is to hopefully bring forth comprehensive immigration reform so that I no longer have to think about the possibility of my mother being deported again.
Right.
And so that's really one of the huge things that motivated me. But for a very long time, I lived with a lot of fear. I didn't really want to do any extracurriculars or go outside or do anything because I was afraid, putting my mother in danger, driving me back and forth. But Then Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who is my congresswoman,
Sure.
was shot. And to see her...
I remember that so clearly.
was a very, very... my community really was affected by that. But to see her go through recovery and still continue to advocate and continue to work towards improving the community and working for us really motivated me to stop letting my fear hold me back. So the moment I could drive myself, I drove myself to the closest congressional office, and I started volunteering. I started making calls, and I haven't stopped since, and it's now been 6 years, and here I am.
Look at you. Look at you 6 years later. Well, you know, you never know what will spark somebody's activism, like, right?
Yes.
Because so many folks... They don't like the fact that, you know, there's all these mass shootings going on. They don't like the fact that our American friends and neighbors are being pushed out of the only country that they know. They don't like this stuff. They don't like the fact that you know, we got racial justice. There's another shooting of an unarmed black man in California, Stephen Clark. But, you know, they don't get up and do stuff about it like you and many of your fellow college Dems are doing. What do you say to those folks who are like, they're concerned, but they're like, they just don't know what they should do?
Well, first of all, I'd tell them that it's very important that they vote.
Yeah.
That is the first thing that you can do, and the most important thing, voting, figuring out like when the next election is. And I'm not just talking about congressional elections and presidential elections. I'm talking about local elections. The first election I ever voted in was for a school override for my brother's school district. That was the first election I was eligible to vote for. And to be able to vote for that and support public education and see that effect immediately and bringing resources to my brother's school was one of the things that really showed me the true power of the vote.
Well, you know, no doubt. And, you know, we're working on voting around here at the Democratic National Committee. We got this thing called iwillvote.com.
Yes.
You can go to iwillvote.com. Everybody in this audience, pull out your phones. I need you to pull out your phone. Pull them out, pull them out, pull them out. Get them up, get them up. And I want you to text right here, right now, on Democrats Live. I want you to text the word commit to 43367. 433. Do you have a cell phone,
I
Joseline?
do, but it's over there.
Can somebody bring her the phone? Come on now. I know we're live, but this is important, right? We're going to do a demonstration here. 43367. Just walk it over. Just walk it on over. We'll be okay. It'll be all right. 43367, 43367, and type the word commit, COMMITT. If you're watching this show, 43367, and type the word commit. We want you to commit to vote. We want you to say, I'm going to vote, commit to vote. We're going to announce it again. And so you guys got a special election coming up in Arizona. You want to talk about that?
We do. We actually have a special election up in the Phoenix area. And this is the first time that such a big push has been done in this red district. But
Sure.
It's really important coming from a red state to see how the Democratic Party is not taking anything for granted.
That is awesome.
Every single district is competitive, and that's a great way to be looking towards the upcoming election. So this is going to be the first test run for us before we have any other congressional elections, and I'm really excited to see Dr. Geralt Bernetti working hard and engaging with people that haven't been engaged with for many, many years and learning about the issues that they care about in that district.
Dr. Geralt Bernetti, we want to see you win. Now get out there. The election is in 11 days on April 24th. What day is that again? April 24th. All right, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. And he's a good candidate. You like him?
She's a fantastic
She's
candidate.
awesome.
She's a woman of color, and she's just very much representative of that district. I'm very excited to see her there.
And she's for the people, right?
Yes.
All right, that's
definitely
how us Democrats roll. We're for the people. Well, let me just say that I want folks to know you a little bit, Joseline, because you really are a leader. Tell us about you a little bit. Who are you?
Well, I'm a senior.
What's your sign? You have
What's my sign?
Yeah.
I'm a Scorpio.
Okay, so,
Yes.
so there you have it on Democrats Live. All right, tell us few other things.
Yeah, I'm a senior at the University of Arizona,
Great,
so
great.
I'm going to be finishing up my degree this year, which is pretty exciting,
That is
but also
exciting.
very scary. So for anybody else out there who's feeling the post-college jitters, I totally feel you. Right there with you. And I'm hoping to stay in Arizona and help turn Arizona blue, because that's my home, and I would like to see that happen in this election cycle.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's go back to that 43367 thing. Were you able to do that?
I was.
Okay, and did you get anything back? Did you type commit?
I didn't get anything. Wait.
Okay, 43367, text that and put in the word commit. And when you get something back, anybody in the audience, if you get something back, put your hand up.
Let's commit.
Okay, we got some. That's good.
I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
didn't do capital letters.
Maybe you don't need capital letters. I think the word, any word will do. Commit. COMMIT. We're trying to get folks to get in there, plug in, because we want folks to vote.
I think I might just not have signal down here.
Okay, well, that's all right. We'll do it again. But for anybody watching, we want you to do it. Joseline's doing it, so we want you to join in. Now, Arizona is a state that has had some electoral success. You mentioned that it's thought of as a red state, but I mean, I seem to believe that you had a sheriff's election a little while back.
We did, and I do want to say thank you to some of our audience members, some of our ASU College Democrats who are here, who actually worked really hard to get him out of office.
Let's talk about who's him.
We're talking about Joe Arpaio.
Right.
It's not a good person. And so he just discriminated against a lot of people in Maricopa County, and I'm really happy to know that he's no longer in office.
We beat him, didn't we?
We did, and that wasn't our only win in 2016. We actually, the House and the Senate, as far as for the Democratic Party, we netted a 0+ game. So we did not lose any seats. We
That's
netted
good.
0, which was different compared to other states all across the country where we lost local state legislative houses and senates.
Well, you got to hang on to what you got.
Yep, and
Yeah.
this is the year. This is the year that we're going to take the state house and the state senate. We have amazing people already working in Arizona with our Arizona Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee and our coordinated campaign. I'm proud of the work that our state party is doing. As a vice chair for our state party, I'm so excited to see all the staff that we're hiring, and they're all young and they are reflective of the communities, and I'm really looking forward to this year's coordinated campaign.
Well, you know what? I can tell you, I think a lot of Democrats around the country are getting ready earlier than before,
Yes.
And are engaging voters much more than before. Do you recommend that Democratic candidates come to campus and engage students?
I do, and on that note, we just had on our college campus, the University of Arizona College Dems actually brought all 3 Democratic gubernatorial candidates to our
Okay.
campus last week, and we had students asking questions about issues that students cared about. So we're not just, we're bringing the candidates to the students
Sure.
as college Democrats. We're not just going out to their events. We're making sure that they're engaging on our turf.
Well, young people face a lot of serious issues these days. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, like, college debt, for example.
Yes.
College debt is only second to mortgage debt, and that's buying a house. There's more student debt than there is credit card debt. And a lot of young people are graduating from college with amount of debt that's a house note. It's a lot. And as a matter of fact, a lot of real estate realtors are getting into the game regarding college debt. You know why? Because they need you to buy cars and houses and stuff, form households. And a lot of young people are having to defer those decisions because of the enormous college debt. Do you know kids who are facing a lot of college debt?
Yes, I do, and that really does affect the decisions that they make and what jobs they take,
Sure.
and what their living situation. And it's a very scary thing to realize that people will graduate with thousands and thousands of dollars of debt that will just weigh a person down and make it hard for them to move forward in life.
And so, do you think this is impacting what people are majored in? If somebody wants to major in art, we need artists in our society. But maybe you got to go major in marketing because that's the only way you can figure out how you're going to make enough to pay those loans back.
Yeah, I think that it definitely is affecting what students are deciding, and that's really sad because it makes it harder for a person to be their real self.
If they are carrying all that debt on their shoulders.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I tell you this, young people really have been the engine behind every campaign I've been on. You know, I have a campaign manager who is a 23-year-old fellow. Hey, Keon. And, you know, every day he sends me out a report because we've knocked on over 20,000 doors and calls so far in 2018 in the 5th Congressional District of Minnesota. But we couldn't do it without college students. We couldn't do it without young people. But is that good enough for young people? Do you think they're starting to think like, yeah, I'm cool working on a campaign, but I got my own campaign I'm thinking about? Is that happening too?
Yeah, I think
people
so.
Thinking about running for office, maybe?
I think it definitely is. And it's wonderful to see organizations also start to empower youth to run for office. I'm thinking of organizations like The Arena. There are so many organizations out there that are now bringing young people forward and making them realize, you know, you too can run for office. In Arizona, we have some of the youngest state legislators.
That's great.
And it's amazing to have that and see somebody that looks like me who thinks the same way that I do because they've lived through the same experiences that I have because we are of close age to know that these people are advocating for me at interstate house and interstate senate. Yeah,
because you know, I mean, it is possible that young people can be great elected officials, right?
Yes. No.
But what about the other folks on the campaign? What about the other jobs like comms director, finance director? Are you finding that young people who get involved, you know, can kind of quickly move up into those really important campaign jobs?
Yeah, I've definitely seen that in Arizona. And I think that once we stop looking at age as being a barrier for somebody to hold different positions and start looking at the talent and what they bring to the table is how people can start to move up quicker and learn so much more, because that's really what's the most important thing, is that you're passing on the knowledge that you have and empowering other people to realize that they too can do these roles.
Yeah, well, you know, I tell you, without the young people on my campaign, I don't know what we would do. Now, let me just tell you what us folks in our 40s and 50s wonder all the time: how to increase the voter turnout among young people. Because if you look at a campaign voter turnout over time, you will see in the presidential, we got a lot of people out.
Yes.
And then you'll see in the midterms, it like falls off a cliff. And then you'll see the presidential again, and it goes back up. And then you'll see the midterm, and it goes right back down. And any local election is down. How do we solve that problem? How do we get young people involved? It's not that it's all up to young people, but they certainly are an important part of it.
Right.
And how do we engage that young voter?
So this is why I'm so excited about the I Will Vote campaign, because the I Will Vote campaign isn't just focusing on the older generation. It's focusing on youth.
Yep.
It's no longer bringing direct mail as a method to engage with youth. It's no longer bringing TV ads, because I, for one, don't watch cable. I don't have cable. And that's the case for a lot of my peers. Yeah. It's engaging with them on platforms that they are already on: Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, all of these platforms, and bringing them the information without having to make youth look for that information.
Sure.
But it's also empowering college Democrats on local campuses. Working with the DNC, I'm really looking forward to this partnership where we'll be able to bring resources to our college Dems so that they can start to engage in one-on-one conversations, because time and time again we can see that the best way to engage with a person is in live. Right?
That's why we have Democrats live.
Yes.
But you're right about that. I mean, have you done your own fair share of door knocking and phone calling?
I have. And, you know, it's the best way. I remember once I talked to somebody on the mall and engaged with them, and they actually registered to vote. Yes, this is on our college campus. Yeah. So our mall is a
University
large
of Arizona
area.
What's your campus mascot?
It's the Wildcats.
The Wildcats, all right.
And I remember I registered that person to vote, and then a couple months later to see them actually at the polls. So I went to vote, and they were there. They were at the polls voting, and that for me was amazing, because he kept saying, you know, if I hadn't talked to you, I would not have realized that I could register on campus. I would not know where my polling location was.
Sure.
And so really those one-on-one conversations are so important, but they take time.
Yeah.
They do. And so that's why it's so great that the DNC is partnering with us on I Will Vote and making sure that we as college students have the resources in order to be able to be out there and have those conversations.
All right. Remember, I Will Vote 43367, text to commit. COMMITT.
Ooh, I got something back.
Did you get? What'd you get?
Yes, I got. Please reply yes or no.
Well, hey, maybe you should.
I say yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it means.
Well, hey, let's go with it. Let's try it. It's so true. Well, I tell you, we're trying to get 50 million people. We're trying to reach 50 million people. That's like a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
I'm gonna tell you a secret. The DNC only with our staff, we can't do it.
Right.
We have to have partnerships with Young Dems, with our revolution, with Flippable, Indivisible, with the labor unions, with Planned Parenthood, all of the groups that care about human dignity, respect, fair pay, clean environment. Oh, we've got to have that big family come out and push that. So, what would you say to folks who are wondering whether they should participate in our I Will Vote program?
I just want to remind them that we are working towards improving our country. And the only way we really can do it is by working together.
Yes.
So bringing coalitions together to do that is really, really important. And also giving those different groups a voice is really important. And I think that's one of the things that I Will Vote does is just making us all into one large collective voice. That
what I love about I Will Vote is that it makes the Democratic activists go engage their neighbors, go engage their fellow classmates. I mean, you could be in class at good old University of Arizona Wildcats, right?
Yes.
and you could be on campus and you could say, hey, did you know you could sign up if you go to 43367 and text in commit, you could get info on voting and participating.
Yes.
And that is a person who you will have personally connected with their power.
Yes.
Now you have friends who are on DACA. Your mother was undocumented. A lot of Americans, a lot of students are connected to people who are not U.S. citizens, but who need justice from the U.S. government. What do you tell them?
I tell them that it's our job to help amplify their voices.
Yeah.
Because if we're not helping, then really we're just in the way.
Sure.
And so really we want to help amplify those voices. So show up to support your fellow DACA recipients at protests.
Sure.
Show up for Planned Parenthood marches. Show up for all these things. Even if the issue isn't directly affecting you, if it's directly affecting somebody that is close to you, then it's important. And you should be there as an ally to support them.
Yeah, I just tell folks that if you are, you can be the voice and the vote for somebody who doesn't have one. So that's super important. I bet. Did you ever feel like you were voting for your mom or your friends?
Definitely. That's one of the big things. Every time I go to the polls, that's definitely what I think about, is the fact that I'm voting for my mom and for all the other undocumented members of our community who don't have the right to vote and can't have their voice heard.
Yeah, so that's key. Now, also, if you are yourself undocumented or you are a resident of the United States but you're not a citizen, are you totally out of the game, or is there some things you can do too?
No, you are not out of the game. You can be having those conversations that can motivate people who might not have voted in the past few years to actually go through and vote this year. And I think that that's something that's really happening. And this blue wave that we have coming is a lot of voters that felt disenfranchised are going to be voting this year.
Yeah, we're going to make the wave.
Yes.
The blue wave. If there's going to be a wave, it's us who's going to be the wave. We're going to go to a video in about 2 minutes, the Good Trouble video, which I'm really excited about. But I just want to ask you a question before we get there. Sometimes I talk to folks, and sometimes they're young, sometimes they're middle-aged, sometimes they're older, and they say, I don't feel that voting matters anymore, and there was this candidate who I didn't like, and this Democrat voted a way I didn't want him to. What do you say to those folks? I mean, the folks who feel like if it's not 100% awesome, they don't want to participate. What do you say to those guys?
Well, sometimes you have to compromise on things, and that's really how we, as a collective whole, as humanity, can move forward by meeting each other in the middle. But also, just because that one time you were disillusioned doesn't mean that the next time you're not going to find a candidate who truly motivates you and really does think the way that you do, and also the right to vote for a lot of us. For example, myself as a woman of color, this is something that somebody else fought for me to be able to do. Yeah. I cannot take that for granted. Like, it is my civic duty to vote because somebody else put themselves in danger so that I would be able to have this right.
Well, I agree. And I tell you, when we don't vote, people get hurt.
Yes.
You know, in Missouri and in Texas, maternal mortality went up because Republicans voted to interfere with a woman's right to choose and reproductive health. And as a result, women were dying for lack of medical services. We got right to work laws, which are really right to work for less laws all over this country because people thought, oh, I'm too pure to vote and I don't like this Democrat or that Democrat, so I'm not going to vote. And so this does concern me, this purity thing, where if you're not all 100%, I'm just going to step away. Because the other folks who want to be in office so they can push their agenda, to keep your wages down, to interfere with your right to choose, to interfere with your right to work on college debt and citizenship issues and gun issues, they're going to vote.
Yes.
And you don't vote thinking you're making a point. Only point you're making is other people you love and care about are going to suffer. So, hey, we're at time for our cool video. Hey, look, let me tell everybody this. This is Good Trouble. This is to highlight activists who are doing great things all over this country. We want you to know that it is a good idea to get in the way. Good Trouble. Just like John Lewis said, check it out.
How long can we be patient? We want our freedom and we want it now.
When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, get to stand up and find a way and to get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble.
Hey everybody, this is Jeremy.
How long can we be
young people to make real change at the ballot box? In Pennsylvania, high school Democrats helped to set up 4 town halls for our lives, opportunities to speak to politicians about gun violence. And in 5 cases, they were speaking to empty chairs because 5 Republican congressmen failed to show up. If they're putting their hands over their ears, our political voice doesn't matter. But if they can ignore our political voice, they cannot ignore our votes. I'm turning 18 in October, and when I vote in November, I'll be voting alongside thousands of young people. And we will be the margin of victory between the Democrats who show up, ready to discuss policy, and the Republicans who don't have the guts to listen. Your vote empowers your voice. So text commit to vote to 43367 to commit to vote in 2018.
Hey! So that's Jeremy Ornstein, everybody.
Love him.
Jeremy Ornstein, 17-year-old guy. I've been knowing him for years. He is a fired up activist. He cares about this country and the people in it. And you heard him, 43367, commit, so you can commit to vote. So, hey, let's talk to some of your friends who are here with us today. What do you think?
I think so.
Hey, so you guys want to jump into this thing? What do you got for us today? Anybody? Everybody's too shy? What?
Hi, my name is Jesse, and I'm the president of the ASU College Democrats. And my question for you is, I'm always curious about elected officials and how you got, who introduced you to politics and what inspired you specifically to get involved as a young adult, and how can we manifest those type of principles to the new generation? Well,
you know what? I'm going to tell you this. You're way ahead of me. I think I was 34 years old before I believed in electoral politics. Not that I didn't vote. I did vote. But I never thought it was for me until it became clear to me. I was a young lawyer. I was fighting to try to pass a civilian review board because in my town there was a lot of tension between the police and members of the community. People were getting not just shot, but also disrespected, and the police felt like they weren't getting the respect they were supposed to get. So we were going to have a civilian review board so we can get people together and talk about these issues. And I figured out, and I found out, I needed some city council members to vote for the civilian review board. So I found myself going to the city council, explaining to them why it was a good expenditure, and, you know, it did pass. And so it really convinced me that, you know, I can't just stand up for the issues and go to the marches and the rallies, write an op-ed here and there. I've got to actually be part of the solution, engage with electeds. The elections matter, who's in office matters, and who's not in office matters too. And then I also had a guy named Paul Wellstone, who was a U.S. Senator from Minnesota, tragically died in a plane crash but he was about his value system. He was about what he believed in, and yet he was also about winning elections. And so I took a page from his book and just tried to carry it forward. So thanks for your question. Let's keep going.
My name is David. I attend ASU as part of the ASU Young Democrats.
There's a lot of ASUs around here today.
The question I had was, what do you think is most important for sustainability of involving college students in the Democratic Party?
Well, honestly, I think there's some improvements we could do. I think we need to have a budgetary commitment to our college students. Yes. That means more work, more raising, and I think it's an important thing. And it's a goal we've got to meet, because if you guys had more resources, you could do a whole lot more. You could really stretch out, look further. And I think we've got to make sure that that's a priority. And let me also say that I think that in just involving you in moments like this, having you on, having Jeremy on the video, making sure your voice is out there. And then we got to have programs that are getting you in the pipeline to get you the training that you need so you can really be that leader that you already are, but you just need, everybody needs to refine their skill. And so those are just some key ways, but I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling me what you think might be some of the best ways.
Maybe even connecting students that are even outside of college Democrats from other progressive groups, because at least from our organization with partnering with other progressive groups, it's really helped us expand our impact on campus.
Sure.
And then the more students and organizations you're able to impact, the more you're able to impact the message of the Democratic Party on campus. Well,
I tell you, you're right about reaching outside campus. A lot of times we think, okay, reach young people, go to campus. But no, there's a lot of kids who don't go to college. Mm-hmm. We got to engage them too. And some of them, labor unions are engaging. A lot of them, the AFL-CIO has a young people's program that they have, and we need to work with some young folks that are out there learning how to be, mechanics and tradespersons and things like that, and young veterans. And so I want to tell you this. Nobody has the magic sauce for making sure that we include, increase, and engage young people on the best level. We're still trying to do better at it. We need you to tell us, hey, I could be a whole lot more effective if you guys did this, this, and this. So we need you to give us that this, and this. Yeah, so thank you. Got time for more questions, Kat?
I think one more if there's any others.
Okay, you want to jump in on this, Joseline?
Yeah, well, to answer a little bit of to the question that David just gave, really pushing youth to start running for party positions.
Yeah.
Being active within your state party.
You've done that, right?
Yeah, and I have. And I think that has been one of the things that has really kept me in the loop, because I've been able to engage and have multiple mentors that have really walked me through why it was important to stay within the democratic structure and have your voice heard within that structure.
I think that's absolutely right. We got time for another question. Anybody? Feel free to put your hand up. I'll be quick, happy to recognize you. So everybody's, we got it. Oh, there we go.
My name's Basir, and I'm the political director for the DC Federation of College Democrats.
All right.
I go to Catholic University here in DC.
What's your major?
I'm a politics major, and I'm also graduating this year.
Oh boy, look at you. You guys ready? Little butterflies, what?
Yeah, I'm just a little bit, but
you feel you can do it.
Yeah, it's an election year, so I'm excited. I'm ready to get out
there you go.
And create the blue wave. But the question I had is that coming from a Catholic university, we do have a lot of Democrats on campus. Actually, today's our admitted students day, and we had some potential freshmen asking questions about how conservative our campus is. I said we have a lot of closet Democrats on campus. And I just had a question about how do we engage Democrats that may not always fit into like the 100% of the party line? Because I know we have a lot of Democrats on campus who are pro-life and still identify with the Democratic mission, and but sometimes feel as if they're not welcomed in like the college Democrat world because of their pro-life views, because of their Catholic. And so just how to like engage those students, because I think even our college Democrats have had an issue kind of figuring out how to do that.
You want to take a swing at that one, Joss?
Yeah, so I think just having multiple events on multiple issues is really a good way, not just focusing on a single issue. As college Democrats, there is such a range of things within our platform that we as Democrats care about. And bringing people into the fold on maybe a different issue that they feel strongly about and want to continue to advocate for. I completely understand where you're coming from as someone who is Catholic as well. But for me, the definition of pro-life means that nobody else can dictate what I will do with my body. But that, in that same regard, I would never dictate what somebody else is doing with their body. So kind of maybe, working with people and understanding where they're coming from and having more issues that affect them in more events on those issues.
Well, I'll say, that I agree with Joseline. Look, the Democratic Party has a platform that is democratically written, and that is a pro-choice platform. But that doesn't mean that we cannot engage in conversations with people about things of common understanding. I like to remind our Democrats that pro-life Dems, they believe that a child should have enough food to eat, that a woman should have prenatal care, that everybody should have health care, that we should have, we believe in all the other life stuff that the pro-life Republicans don't believe in. These same people want to cut SNAP and food stamps, child nutrition, health care for women, all these things. At the same time, they're running around saying they're pro-life. So my thing is, you don't have to surrender your views, but be willing to engage in a conversation. And also remember, there is a question around healthcare, labor rights, the environment. There's other issues that we can talk to. But I just say, come on in, let's have a conversation, let's keep working together on critical things. Because we all think that if you're a Democrat, then you believe in economic fairness and human rights for everybody, and you believe in living in harmony with our environment. So those are three things that should unite us all. So thank you for that very important question, and thanks for keeping it real. We don't want to, this is not a pep rally, right? This is Democrats Live, where we talk about issues of true importance. So, Joss, we've come to the end of the show. Oh man, we're gonna have to do this again. What do you think?
Yes.
You want to remind everybody of the number and all of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
4367 and text commit to that number. 43367. There we go. See, you already memorized it.
I need your help.
I still haven't gotten the link yet.
I need your help. But let me just tell everybody, look, we've been here talking to college Democrats. We had a video intro jump in from Jeremy Ornstein from the high school Democrats. We really value our young people in the Democratic Party. And so on behalf of Tom Perez and all the DNC, my name is Keith Ellison, Deputy Chair of the Democratic National Committee. I've been hanging out with my good friend Joseline and a lot of college Dems. Tune in next time for Democrats Live.
Thank you.